Hello everybody, this is TipTop MTG here today with another Magic the Gathering video. In today's video, I'm going to be breaking down all of the spoilers from today, giving you my general thoughts on them, and just giving you some information you may not have had. Alrighty, why don't we jump right into this. First, we have Sanctum of the Tranquil Light, and this card really excites me. It's a 1-white legendary enchantment shrine, and it says, pay 6, tap target creature. This ability costs 1 less to activate for each shrine you control. So basically, these are shrines. Now, we knew that there was going to be a returning enchantment theme in Corset 2021, and since Historic Anthology 3 had shrines in them, a lot of people guessed it that shrines were going to be in it, and so did I. And here we have our first shrine, and now, this shrine may look really bad, and actually, it's very different than the rest of the shrines. Most of the other shrines, actually all of the other shrines, had an ability at the beginning of the turn. This one has an activated ability, which is somewhat interesting. Now, the power of this card alone, let me stop talking about shrines in general, but this card is kind of weak. I mean, it is a weird card. It does reduce its own ability, so it never costs 6. It will always cost 4. Not 4, sorry, 5. And 5 mana to tap a creature is not very good. However, 1 mana to tap a creature is amazing, and this is not the only shrine. Otherwise, this would be a very useless card. Also, one other thing to note, it's exciting to see a shrine at 1 mana. All of the other ones were either 3 mana and above, and so this is really nice. Either way, moving on, normally I do these in Wooburg order, but I'm going to go through all the shrines, or sanctums in this case. We have Sanctum of Calm Waters. It's a 4-cost blue legendary enchantment shrine, and this one says, at the beginning of your pre-combat main phase, you may draw X cards, where X is the number of shrines you control. If you do, discard a card. So, unlike the other shrines, this happens at your pre-combat main phase. And it's also a May trigger, because the other blue shrine did essentially this, but it is a May trigger, so you don't have to draw the cards. For instance, if you're running low on cards in your deck, you wouldn't have to draw them. And then also it says if you do, discard a card. So yeah, pretty good. Very similar to the other one, which I saw a lot of people complaining about, but I like it. Next, we have Sanctum of Stone Fangs. It's a 2-cost black legendary enchantment shrine. It says at the beginning of your pre-combat main phase, each opponent loses X life and you gain X life, where X is the number of shrines you control. So you at its base, this is essentially at the beginning of your pre-combat main phase, each opponent loses 1 life. You gain a life for 2, which isn't awful, and then if you manage to have another shrine in there, it becomes 2 and 2, and yeah, not bad. That ramps up fairly quickly, and it's an easy way to win. Next, we have Sanctum of Shattered Heights. It's a 3-cost red enchantment, legendary enchantment shrine. You can pay 1, discard a land card or shrine card. It deals X damage to target creature or planeswalker, where X is the number of shrines you control. So, again, this I actually think is one of the better ones, because it lets you discard your shrines to do something, and you can keep doing it. If you have 5 shrines in your hand and 5 mana, you can activate this ability 5 times. And so yeah, it just gives you a use to use your extra shrines since they are legendary. So I really like this. Next, we have Sanctum of Fruitful Harvest. It's a 3-cost green legendary enchantment shrine. At the beginning of your pre-combat main phase, add X mana of any one color, where X is the number of shrines you control, so you can use them now to ramp, deal damage, gain life, draw cards, deal damage. Just, there's a lot you can do. Create tokens, like if you look at the other Hondens too, but within standard, you'll notice that there's a 1, 2, 3, and 4 costs, and there are like repeats, but these are not the only shrines. Last time we just got 5. Now we have like a shrine master, like the best shrine, or the shrine that kind of brings all the shrines together. Sanctum of All. It's a white, blue, black, red, green legendary enchantment shrine and it says at the beginning of your upkeep, you may search your library and or graveyard for a shrine card and put it onto the battlefield. If you search your library this way, shuffle it. So either resurrect one from the graveyard, throw one in from your library. Very, very potent. If an ability of another shrine you control triggers while you control 6 or more shrines, that ability triggers an additional time, and that is both activated and triggered. So, for instance, if you have the ability to pay 5 mana, which it wouldn't be at that point, it would be 1 mana. If you have the ability to pay 1 mana to tap a creature, it would tap 2 creatures. The red one, you'd be able to deal the damage twice. You'd draw the cards twice for all those. So very, very potent, and I wish this was a creature. And a creature that was also a shrine. I don't know. It'd be fun as a commander, but yeah, I really enjoy this. So why don't we move away from the shrines and into the rest of the cards. Starting off, we have 9 lives. This is a 1 white enchantment with hexproof. If a source would deal damage to you, prevent that damage and put an incarnation counter on 9 lives. When there are 9 or more incarnation counters on it, exile it. When it leaves the battlefield, you lose the game. So essentially, you get to dodge 9 attacks and then you're dead. So say you're at 1 life and it comes to your turn. You can play this and now 9 creatures have to hit you, or 9 sources of damage. But just note, if an opponent swings with 9 creatures and they hit you, you are dead. It's not, those don't count as 1 trigger, so you'll get 9 counters on this. Now, if you can find a way to repeatedly remove counters from this, which there are ways, you can essentially make yourself invincible to damage, but it is a little bit risky, because if your opponent can somehow board wipe this away, it's gone. Another way you can use this card is that you can have a way to swap its controller, whether it be you're going to use it, and then as soon as you're about to lose the game, swap it to someone else's side. There are lots of cards that do that. Or it could be that you just swap it to someone else's side and then board wipe all enchantments, and then boom, they instantly die. So that'll be fun. Maybe I'll do a deck like that on my channel, but very interesting card. Next we have Mistral Stinger. It's a 3-cost 2/2 flying with prowess. Creature siren with flying and prowess, sorry. Just draft filler. Next, we have Shackle. It's a 2-cost blue creature spirit 2/2 with flying, and it can only block creatures with flying, and tap 2 untapped spirits you control, tap target creature you don't control. So a little bit of spirit tribal in here. Not bad if you're trying to do something with spirits. Next, we have Ghostly Pilferer. It's a 2-cost blue creature spirit rogue. Whenever it becomes untapped, you may pay 2. If you do, draw a card. So you're going to want to be constantly attacking with it. And then whenever an opponent casts a spell from anywhere other than their hand, draw a card. So essentially, if they decide they want to cast things from their graveyard or library or whatever, you're going to draw cards, which is really good against certain decks. And then discard a card. Ghostly Pilferer can't be blocked this turn. So you can make it unblockable, which is going to make it be able to attack, which means it'll become tapped, which means you can draw a card. So you can kind of do this weird draw a card, discard a card. It's just a little more drawn out, and you don't have to draw the card. You also don't have to discard the card, depending on the situation. And then it's also really nice against some strategy. So yeah, pretty good card. Next, we have Baron Tellurian Archmage. It's a 3-cost blue legendary creature human wizard 2/2. When it enters the battlefield, return up to 1 other target creature or planeswalker to its owner's hands, whether that's your hand or an opponent's. And then at the beginning of your end step, if a permanent was put into your hand from the battlefield this turn, draw a card. So he is a commander that likes to bounce things. So you're going to bounce something to your hand, you're going to draw a card at your end step. Now, this is really limited. It can be powerful at the beginning of the game, but as soon as you start moving in and your opponents, of course I'm talking about commander in this sense, start casting their bigger commanders, he becomes outclassed. He can draw 1 card per turn cycle, not even per turn. I wish it said at the beginning of each end step if a permanent was put into your hand. Then this would also kind of work against Fairy if someone tries to bounce your stuff. So yeah, it's kind of meh, but yeah, I'm not a huge fan of this. Next, we have Kite Freebooter. This is a reprint from Ixalan. It's 1 and a black for a creature human pirate 1/2. Human is a thing in standard right now, so flying, and when it enters the battlefield, target opponent reveals their hand. You choose a non-creature, non-land card from it, exile that card until it leaves the battlefield. So yeah, pretty decent. There is a kind of make your opponent discard a bunch, Black Devotion, and there is also human, so that could fit in any of those, but it seems a little too underpowered right now. Maybe after rotation it'll see some play. Next, we have Volcanic Geyser. It's an X red instant, and it says it deals X damage to any target. I'd rather play Electro Dominance, which is just a better version of this card, but that is rotating out soon. So, yeah, interesting. Mostly here for draft. Next, we have Ranger's Guile. It's 1 green for an instant. It says target creature you control gets +1/+1 and gains hexproof until end of turn. So kind of a little green counterspell for removal. Not super useful because a lot of the meta in standard right now is dominated by board wipes. So that doesn't really protect it from that, but it's not bad. Next, we have Experimental Overload. It's a 4-cost blue and red sorcery, and it says create an XX blue and red weird creature token where X is the number of instants and sorcery cards in your graveyard. So you're going to get a big creature. Then you may return target instant or sorcery card from your graveyard to your hand, exile it. So you're going to basically create a big weird, get one of your spells back, exile this. So can't really go infinite with this, but it is interesting. Probably going to go in not much unless Is It Drake's returns. I could see it getting some play. Alrighty guys, that's going to do it for this video. Let me know what you guys thought of all the spoilers down below. I'm honestly super hyped for the shrines. I know they're not going to be meta, probably, hopefully, but they are going to be this janky fun deck that people can play, and I'm excited for that. Either way guys, if you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button, subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.